Dhani watches a lot of television and movies. John does not. Listen in as she tells him about what she's watching, and he tries to make sense of it all. Welcome to Watching My Stories with Dhani and John.
Here we go. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Watching My Stories. I forgot what we were doing.
Yep.
I'm Dhani.
I'm John.
And let's go.
Nope, still not
No,
it.
that wasn't it.
No, we keep trying.
Am I still here? Okay.
You're still here.
I'm here. Okay, so big week. Last week I didn't have any movies that I'd seen, and now this week I have
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. We got to start over.
We do?
No, well, so we had talked about introducing ourselves and telling people what we do in case this is their first episode.
Oh.
Have we...
Is this your first episode?
Well, not my... Is that rhetorical? Not mine.
Is that rhetorical?
But... All right, I'm officially sorry I stopped it.
Okay, go ahead. Introduce us. If this is your first episode,
this is your
here's
show.
what you have to look forward to.
This is what we do. This is who we are. I'm telling you, it's your.
Oh, you're telling me to do it.
Yeah, it's your show.
Oh,
I'm just the husband.
My show.
I'm just the husband that listens to you tell your stories.
You don't even know what it's about. That's why you can't do it. I see.
Oh, crap, she's on to me.
I get it. Okay.
I don't know what we're doing here.
Yeah. Okay. If this is your first listening experience of Watching My Stories,
Yes.
what do? I watch TV and movies.
A lot.
A lot of them.
Yes.
John does not.
Nope.
And I sit and bore him to death with my stories of what I've seen.
Sometimes
Sounds like a lot of fun.
sometimes to tears, then to death.
But at the end of every episode, we always have what we call an actor's corner, where we go through certain actors' projects and we talk about what we like and not like.
Yeah, so she watches a lot of TV, tells me about it, we review it very loosely, and then talk about an actor and stuff we like and don't like, and then we're done. The end.
Okay, I'm glad you asked me to do it so that you could summarize afterwards. Now they had to sit through it twice. Click.
I'm not.
Okay. Anyway, this week, well, as I was saying before, last week I hadn't seen any movies, and this week I have a bunch of movies, more movies and TV to talk about, and then at the end we are going to invite Matt Damon into our Actors Corner, and we will review projects that he's done.
Yes.
That's it.
Yep.
So we're going to get into movies now.
That's it. That's all.
First movie that I saw this week, The Grinch.
Yeah.
Even though I look at The Grinch every day.
Bah humbug.
No, that's not the
No,
Grinch.
not the
That's
Grinch.
Evan. I do call you Scrooge too.
You do.
He's not a festive person.
What does the Grinch say? What does the Grinch say?
Oh no. Okay, so The Grinch is out. I have to admit I went into this with negativity because I am a super, super, super huge fan of the original 30-minute TV episode
From like 1965?
Yeah. And I'm a huge fan of the Ron Howard movie with Jim Carrey.
Yes.
So both of those being called The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. This being just called The Grinch. Illumination did this. Sam Mosier is the co-director. We all know Sam Mosier from Kevin Smith. He produced all of Kevin Smith's films. So I was very excited for him that he was getting to direct this huge project. And I went in with a mostly open mind, but also wanting to not like it because I didn't understand why it was happening. The Ron Howard movie is so good that I didn't think there was anything else to tell. And even that movie, I was kind of like, why are they ruining this for me? Why are they ruining the cartoon?
Sure.
But they did such a good job, in my opinion, of expanding that book / cartoon that I didn't feel like anything else needed to be told. And so here's the thing. If you have kids, I'm sure this movie's great. They'll laugh. They'll think it's funny, all that sort of thing. If you're a fan of The Grinch, at least for me, and maybe a purist, I think I'm a purist when it comes to this. I was not happy with the changes they made.
You're a purist when it comes to the Grinch.
Grinch.
Okay.
Yes. They made weird changes. Cindy Lou like has a single mother, which again, that was fine. Like I can get past that, but it was a weird interaction. Like she was kind of an absent mother, which was weird. They like the Grinch didn't get to stealing anything until over an hour into it. So that whole buildup, they kind of added in a bunch of stuff.
What was he doing?
Like he wanted to actually get a reindeer to pull the sled instead of using Max. And so they went on this whole big thing to go and find a reindeer. And finally he finds this big, huge, fat reindeer. And they try to get him to do it and it doesn't work. And so they're trying like all these different things to prepare for it versus just getting to the point. Mm-hmm. That was kind of boring. Even when he got into stealing and he got to Whoville, it was weird. It was different. And so Pharrell Williams narrates this, which I liked, but they changed even the words around. So, when he's going through, well, you probably don't, but when he's going through Whoville and he's stealing and the narration from the book is, he took all the what's-its and Seuss has all these little words that he's made up.
Yeah.
They didn't use any of those words. They actually used like real things. Like he was stealing trains and, and I was like, no, that's not Seuss. And they did that a few times. Like the lines and words that are from the book / cartoon / even movie were not in this. And I don't know if that's because they weren't allowed to, if Seuss's estate or whatever. I mean, Dr. Seuss's name is on this, but I don't know why everything was changed to get out of the Seuss language.
Yeah, I wouldn't think they could even use the Grinch for the title if they didn't.
That's what I
permission.
wouldn't think either. Yeah.
Right.
So for some reason the Seuss language is kind of gone.
So they just de-Seussed it for some reason.
Yeah, but then it's not. But then it is still the same because it's still Who's, and now the Who's look just like every other Illumination character. There's nothing special to them, so if you go and watch Despicable Me, those characters look exactly the same as these characters because I guess Illumination just does the same, so and technically their characters all kind of look Who-ish. So I guess funny she doesn't look Who-ish. So
hey, who you calling a who?
So, I had a lot of problems with the changes that they made, and it definitely felt like it dragged quite a bit because he wasn't getting to the point. And then there was a scene where he was walking through the house to steal stuff, and Grinch pulled out these big candy canes, and he uses them where it looks like he's shooting a gun off onto he's got one in each hand. And he's shooting them, but what he's shooting is nets, and the nets then go and capture everything.
That's in the trailer.
It freaked me out because it really looks like shooting guns. And I'm
man.
I don't want to see the Grinch shooting, even if it's from a candy cane and it's a net or whatever. It was just, that's what I loved about the Ron Howard movie is that the scenes from the cartoon were stolen completely from that. And that was perfect because nothing messed with our childhood and our memories and all of that. This one really not messed with it. They just changed it. And for me as a purist, I didn't appreciate it.
And it sounds like the changes weren't good enough to get past the fact that they changed it.
They modernized some things. Like there were Black Who's, so that was nice. The single mom, Cindy Lou has a friend that she hangs out with or whatever. It was, so they modernized it, but it also felt like they simplified it. Like they dumbed it down a little bit or something. I didn't find myself, and again, you have to take this with a grain of salt because I'm an adult watching this. I'm sure kids would love it. I'm sure there's adults out there that are loving it. I'm going to stick with my original things and I don't need to watch this one again.
If you're a purist, skip it.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
well.
I'm giving it 2 stars.
Oh, yuck.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Yeah, and again, maybe they didn't even do the Grinch music. Like You're a Mean One. It was like there was some melody of that in the background sometimes, but it was just all missing. All the Grinch staples were missing.
Could you at least tell it was Benedict Cumberbatch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that had to have been
It was fine. It was just different.
Oh no.
It's just different.
See, I thought he would be the best part.
Well, he probably is, but I don't know.
He probably is, but it only got it to a 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, such these things happen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so that was The Grinch. Now in theaters. Good luck. No, I didn't mean that. I don't know what I mean.
We know what you mean.
It's hard because it's a kid's thing. So
Sure.
if you have kids, take them.
Yeah, but if you don't.
But actually, if you have kids, show them the half-hour cartoon and then show them the Ron Howard movie. Those are better. And the message in the Ron Howard one is just a bigger message of the half-hour cartoon. Like, it's just such a great message for kids, talking about the real meaning of Christmas, that it's not presents. Mm-hmm. It is about family and joy and spirit and all that. So if I had a kid, I would show them those before showing them this one.
If you have a kid, you should really do these things in the natural order. You should do the 65 half-hour series, then the Jim Carrey Grinch, and then maybe this, I guess.
Yeah,
if you
have to. Okay, moving on to the next one. The House with the Clock in Its Walls.
Yeah, damn it.
I know. Anyway,
here we go. Yeah, damn it. I was supposed to see this with you, and I didn't get a chance.
Yeah.
That's
okay. We'll watch it.
It's okay. You're over it.
We'll see it together. Okay, so this one, I really was interested in seeing this when it came out, 2 months ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember why I didn't get around to it then. But anyway, this was really entertaining. Like, really entertaining.
Good. I thought it would be.
So Eli Roth directed this, and he's a huge horror. He's a huge horror movie director.
Okay.
And this is a kid's movie. It's actually PG. It's not even PG-13. But man, it helped like him because it's not scary, but he adds he was able to add a certain, and maybe this is the story. I think this is a kid's book, so
okay,
maybe the story is kind of mysterious and suspenseful, but not really suspense. It's just a good kind of mystery of what's going on and why is this clock in the walls, and Jack Black is a warlock, and Kate Blanchett, who we all know is my favorite, is a witch, and this little boy, it's Jack Black's nephew, comes to live with him because his parents died. And so there's a lot of weird things in this house, and Jack Black starts to try to teach him how to be a warlock and teach him magic and stuff. Mm-hmm. And they tell the story, there's a clock in the walls and it's counting down and they don't know why, and so then that all starts to come about. And it's counting down faster, and different things like that. And the boy works on helping them try to figure it out, and it's just fun. Like, it was a lot of fun. The story was good. I was into it, and I really do think that's Eli Roth, kind of his background of being able to keep it mysterious and not let things come too fast to give it away.
Okay.
It's not like it's a huge mystery, but for some reason watching it just felt like
he kept it interesting.
Yeah, it was just it was fun. Like, I don't know how else to. Yeah, it was really good, and Kate Blanchett, she's my favorite. She's wonderful in this.
What was she in this?
She is Jack Black's neighbor. She's a witch.
Okay.
And so she helps him take care of the boy and teach him and all of that. Yeah. Okay. So it was just good. A lot of effects, and I could see this would be a lot of fun as a kid.
Yeah.
But certainly I'm up for watching it, as soon as we can, and watch it again. Yeah.
Well, this is one that I did want to see, so as soon as it's available.
Yeah, and it's a great cast. Kyle MacLachlan's in it. Okay.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
So I'm giving it 4 stars.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because it is one that I think I'll enjoy. And the kid is great. He is the boy in Daddy's Home, and Daddy's Home 2. Okay. So, yeah. So we've seen him before. He's good. But it really is Jack Black's thing. who we did Jack Black in our Actors Corner months ago.
He's one of my favorites.
Yeah, we talked about how much we gush over him. So, very, very good. Totally worth seeing. Fun family film. It seems like it's dark, but it really isn't. Like the way they've made it, it's a very, like, I would say it kind of reminds me on the same level of Hocus Pocus, but not corny, cheesy. You know what I mean? Like, I love Hocus Pocus, don't get me wrong, but it's like that sort of thing where it's PG, but yet there's this story to it. It's not just a throwaway. It's really entertaining. So that's House with the Clock in Its Walls.
You seem to have a low opinion of PG movies.
Well, yeah.
I mean, but just because it's PG doesn't mean it's bad. Or most of them are, most of them aren't great, I guess.
Exactly. See?
Yeah, you know what? I'm sorry I jumped in there. I should have left it alone.
Yeah, leave it alone. Okay, so we're going to go from PG to one of the most R-rated movies that you can see, and that is the Happytime Murders.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so I'm giving it 3 stars, and I'm not even sure that that's right. It probably should be higher. So by the time I'm done with this, it might be closer to 4 stars. Because, like, the more I think of it, I can't wait to watch it again.
We put a lot of prep into this show.
Yeah, well, So the Happytime Murders stars Melissa McCarthy, and a bunch of other people are in it. Maya Rudolph's in it, and a lot of puppets or Muppets. Are they Muppets? No.
They're not Muppets. That's how they got in trouble. They're puppets.
Okay, well, Brian Henson directed this, Jim Henson's son. So, he's allowed to do whatever he wants to do.
It turns out he's not, but that's okay. We won't get into that. They're Muppet-like puppets.
Yeah. Anyway, so the story goes, Melissa McCarthy is a cop. We follow another cop who is a puppet, and they used to be partners. And someone starts killing off the cast, which are mostly puppets, of this show that had been on called Happytime Gang. And so they have to start investigating this, why they're being murdered. There's so much to this story. Like, it's a world where now puppets walk among everyone else. They're no longer only in the entertainment biz where they entertain humans. The main puppet that we're following, he isn't a cop anymore because puppets are no longer allowed to be cops because they can't shoot other puppets and stuff. Like, there's a lot of different layers to the story. The main thing is this is R-rated. It's a very, very R-rated type movie, but it's funny. Melissa McCarthy, you can't go wrong.
Right.
She's very funny in it. There's a lot of sight gags with the puppets that, they were kind of like, if we're going to do an R-rated movie with puppets, we're going to have some fun.
We're going to get our money's worth. Yeah.
And it was so funny. If anyone knows the musical Avenue Q with puppets, this takes it a level above that. But only a level. I mean, I've
seen it.
Yeah, we've seen puppet sex and nudity in Avenue Q. So now we're seeing another step up in this movie. I found it really enjoyable. I know people hated this movie, but I thought it was a good story. The mystery of unraveling who the murderer was. If you took it in a vein of kind of the same as like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, just instead of cartoons, it's puppets.
Yep.
And even if you took the storyline by itself and you put in, Seth Rogen or, someone like that, like if they did this dirty, quote unquote, type movie, people would think it was hysterical. And I think because it had puppets in it, people didn't think it was funny.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I think it made people a little uncomfortable.
Why would you be uncomfortable with puppets?
I'm not. It didn't make me uncomfortable, but I think that's what some people's problem was.
Well, I was pleasantly surprised. It was something that I really did want to see, but I also didn't have high expectations.
Well, you shouldn't.
Right. But I found it to be a fun story and a fun, different take on something. And And I thought they did a good job of like explaining, again, there's discrimination, like humans called them socks and they didn't like puppets being around. They didn't like, so there's a lot of discrimination. So there's a lot of like, again, you can always take these movies and put them in real life scenario and you go, oh yeah, it's teaching something, like that sort of thing.
Right.
But it's done in a fun and funny way. I mean, those scenes with Melissa McCarthy, like they go into a hideout with this gang or whatever to try and get some information, and they're doing drugs and it's lines and it's like glitter. And so she starts doing I forget the name of it. It was a funny name too. And so she starts doing that to prove she's not a cop. And oh gosh, it's just, there's a lot of those sorts of things. Like they put thought into it to make it funnier and step it up. So I'll watch it again. I definitely will. So see, 3 stars doesn't seem like enough, but maybe 3.5.
And I think I feel a public service announcement coming on, because if somebody didn't like this movie, they probably went into it with the bar set too high. If you see the trailer and you're interested enough in the movie to the trailer interests you enough to go see the movie, then take it for face value. Don't have these huge expectations, and just it is what it is. It's farce. It's ridiculous. It is Who Framed Roger Rabbit or Avenue Q or something like that. Don't expect too much out of it.
Yeah, I think if you like the trailer, you'll like the movie. I think a lot of people just didn't see the movie because they didn't like the trailer. They thought the premise was stupid.
So when you're saying people hated the movie, it's not people who saw the movie hated it. It's people hated the idea of it so much.
No,
I
think it's both. I think it's both.
All right.
Yeah, but I saw one review when I was looking at the movie, and then someone said, "Oh, Melissa McCarthy's career died with Ghostbusters," and I'm like, "Oh, so you're a straight white man that just doesn't get anything." So people.
Oh, you show me that article. I'm gonna write I gotta write something.
Yeah.
Said the old man in the corner.
Exactly. Okay, so that was the Happytime Murders. If you like Melissa McCarthy and you love when she gets dirty and nasty and like yells at people, all those things, that's worth this alone, because there's so many of those scenes. And and the puppets, like their names are funny, the way they look is funny sometimes, and then when they're getting massacred and the stuffing is flying.
Oh my God.
And I know this. See, you said, oh my God. It's so funny. It's just funny. I mean, It's like, again, it's like the Roger Rabbit and them going into what's the barrel of poison that they go into to melt the cartoons? Oh, now I don't. I can't believe I don't remember it. But it's that sort of thing. They had to come up with ways of doing this stuff. So it's just funny.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay. The next movie is an old movie that John and I actually hadn't seen, but it's on Hulu, so we finally decided to watch it.
Oh my gosh.
That's called Downsizing.
Oh yeah.
So this is an Alexander Payne movie, written and directed, and that's significant because one of John's favorite movies of all time is his The Descendants.
Yeah, with Clooney.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, we had been wanting to see Downsizing forever, and then it just kind of got lost over the last year.
Yep.
And when I saw it was on Hulu, we just sat and watched it, and so I thought we'd talk about it, even though it's really old.
Yeah, we hadn't talked about it since we watched it, so
yeah.
We really did save it for the podcast.
Yep.
That's good. Okay.
So go ahead.
I'm sorry, what are we doing?
Are you going to talk about it?
Oh, downsizing?
What are we doing?
Hey,
we have microphones.
Hey,
it's recording us.
What's this on my head?
He's been tuned out this whole time.
I have. No, I have not. Just because I tried to interject a dumb thing about puppets.
Downsizing.
Anyway, so okay, I really liked the first half. I didn't care for it once it. So if you haven't seen it, it's supposed to be a couple's journey through downsizing. The science broke through the stumbling blocks of miniaturizing people and having them be perfectly fine. So people were doing this some people were doing it for ecological reasons, so their carbon footprint was smaller. literally. Some people are doing it just to get away from start a new life and start like really over.
Well, the benefits of it are it was done for environmental reasons. That if the population of the Earth downsized to 5 inches tall, we would not be taking up that much space. Literally, we would not be eating so many resources. All of that, as well as your $12,000 that you have in savings could translate into $1 million, and no one has to work anymore because you just have all this money. So there were a couple reasons for getting into it, but it was created to save the planet from environmental doom. So Matt Damon and his wife, they're kind of hard on their luck. His wife is played by Kristen Wiig. They are getting by, but it's not that comfortable, so they decide to downsize because they're gonna have all this money and they can live large and all of that. He goes through with it. He gets a call from Kristen Wiig. She couldn't do it, so bam, now he's stuck at 5 inches tall, far away from his wife, and they get a divorce. And then it becomes okay, he's got to live in this world now, this new little world literally. And they have this place called Leisureland, which he had bought a big mansion, but now that they were divorced, he doesn't have all that money, so he has to actually go and work. And it shows the difference of like how you outsource to the downsized people. So he becomes the call center for, is it Land's End Catalog or something. But then it starts to delve into, okay, there's all these people who had this money. He's a working person, so he lives in like an apartment, but then he also finds that there are people living outside of the walls that are the actual projects of this downsized world. They're the maids and housekeepers or servants of some kind that don't have any money at all, and they are literally living in this project box area and don't have money for food, and there are disabled people and all sorts of stuff. So then we start to get into kind of real life stuff that isn't as much fun to watch anymore.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nicely done.
So do you have an opinion?
I do have an opinion. So all of that is basically what I was going to say.
Okay, yeah, that's the scenario.
So the second half is like real life, except it takes a turn where he befriends this rich guy who supplies people with contraband and that sort of thing.
Christoph Waltz.
Yep. And they end up taking a trip over to Norway to the original colony and meet the guy, the scientist, and his wife who invented this process and created this world. And it kind of takes on kind of a cult-like feel. The first half, the build up to the downsizing itself and the life that they're going to have together was entertaining to me. That was kind of cool. The rest of it, I know it's Alexander Payne, and I wasn't surprised by it. I was just a little disappointed by it. It didn't surprise me that it went where it went, but that's not what I wanted out of this.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple things here. We could have stuck with them living in Leisureland and kind of seeing that world in those walls. That would have been a completely different movie. That would have been a comedy, and it wouldn't have had any sort of message or meaning or whatever. The reason that Matt Damon's character ends up even finding out about the projects and everything else is because he befriends a maid played by Hong Chow, who is she is the diamond of this movie. She's the best. And so he ends up befriending her and helping her because he finds out she lives in the projects, but not only is she living there, but she helps out everyone around her. Yeah. So he ends up kind of helping her and going around and collecting food. So they'll go to the rich people's homes, and if they have extra food in their refrigerator, they'll take it back to the projects to feed people who can't feed themselves. Yeah. And then he finds out about this Norway thing, and she goes with him, and they end up falling for each other. But then there is all this discussion, and they get to the Norway thing, and we're giving away tons of spoilers, but the movie's like over a year old, so, deal with it.
Get over it, people.
And the cult says, hey, the world is doomed. Only like 3% of the population is downsized, so there's nothing we can do. We've built a tunnel underground, and we're going to go live there for 8,000 years. And he thinks this is great. this is why I downsized in the first place. I'm going to go do this. And Hong Chau's character says, that's not what I want to do. I want to help people now. I don't want to help people 8,000 years from now.
Right.
And so you end up coming out of it with a message. And the message being, what can we do today to help? Versus trying to think of jumping the gun. I mean, these people were going to go live underground right now when the earth still has maybe 100 years before extinction. So it was kind of like, can't we keep doing that sort of thing?
Mm-hmm.
And what's important? You know, is it important to be in love and have that going, or to, you know, run away and kind of...
Well, is it important to be in love now and know it's doomed to
Right.
a certain fate versus walk out on that for the greater good, like a long time from now?
Right. And I think that's where that last scene, Matt Damon, they come back to Leisure World and they're delivering food like they always do. And Matt kind of stops and he looks at the people, the person that he just gave food to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where you interpret what you want to interpret. And for me, it was definitely, this is right. This is what we're doing. I'm going to just, I feel good helping people every day type thing.
Yep.
It's a lot deeper than I think either one of us thought it was going to be.
It's certainly deeper than I wanted, even though I knew it was an Alexander Payne movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think if Hong Chau wasn't in it and her character wasn't who her character was, I don't think I would have enjoyed it at all.
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, she's the comedy relief of it, but she's also the heart and soul of the entire story.
She drives the second half of the movie.
Yeah, and she was nominated for, I think, an Oscar or a Golden Globe or something. Nomination was definitely just... And let me tell you real quick, a sidebar on her. She is also in the TV show Homecoming with Julia Roberts that I talked about a few weeks ago on Amazon.
Oh, wow, okay.
She is a very small part in maybe 1 or 2 episodes. She might be in for like a minute or 2. And then in the very last episode, she's in the last 20 minutes. And let me tell you, it made the whole series for me. She's phenomenal. She's phenomenal. And I cannot wait for her to get in bigger and bigger things, because she gave me chills in Homecoming. It was insane to see her do what she did in that. So definitely go back and watch Homecoming because it's all good. But when you get to that last episode, you'll see what I'm talking about with her. But in this, it was the same thing for me. I probably would have said, let's turn it off if she hadn't shown up when she did.
And I'd have been fine with it.
Yeah. So I gave it 2 stars. I don't know why. I'm never going to watch it again.
I gave it 3 stars because it's Alexander Payne and it's Matt Damon. You know,
it's a good message. I think people should watch it if they'll get the right thing out of it. I mean, but it's a long way to get there.
Yeah, it's a bridge too far.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, if you put a gun to my head, or a candy cane to my head, I'd give it 2 stars.
Okay, yeah. So it's on Hulu if you're still interested. I can't imagine we made it sound appealing. But, you know, it's there if you want it.
Go see it. Yay.
Yeah. Okay, so that's all of the movies for this week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a lot. So we're going to move on to television. I'm going to try and get through this.
Okay. Speed round.
Yes. So I want to talk about The Walking Dead because the first half of the 9th season ended last week. So I want to talk about this 9th season just because it's a huge season. And we lost Rick Grimes. Well, we didn't lose him, but he's no longer on the show. The character is no longer on the show. So I just wanted to talk about my thoughts on this first half of the 9th season. Honestly, we knew coming into the 9th season that Rick was going to be leaving or dying, whichever it was. And I was angry about that at first because it made me feel like I couldn't enjoy the episodes. They told us which episode he was leaving. So it was like, we knew it was the 5th one. So getting into it, I felt like I was bored in the first 3 episodes. I was like, this is really boring. I don't understand what's going on. Now, I don't like the episodes when our original core group is separated. At least I never used to.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning of the season, they were all separated. So I thought, well, that's why I'm bored. I like it better when they're together. But then I started to realize that I was good with them telling me ahead of time. Because at first I was angry. I was like, you're ruining this for me. You told me that Rick was going to die. And now all I'm doing is anticipating it. And then I realized, no, it's okay. Because now I'm starting to, I had already started to look beyond him leaving before we even got to that episode. So I got why they did it. So anyway, Rick's gone. He didn't die. He's going to go off. We're going to get 3 movies out of him, 3 Walking Dead movies out of Rick Grimes. I'm very excited about it. And the way they did it was perfection, because as soon as he was gone, they gave us a 2 or 3 minute snippet at the end of that episode where we had skipped ahead 6 years in time. We saw his daughter grown up. She's like 12 or something. And we're now so far in the future that we don't even have to like deal with it. You know what I mean? Because every time someone significant dies, we're in mourning for so long that sometimes it really feels...
Takes away from the show.
Yeah.
Sure.
So the episodes after that one have been some of the best episodes that I've seen of this show, and it's really amazing that they've been able to do this, because honestly, 9 years ago, if they had ever said we're going to get rid of Rick Grimes, I would have said, I'm out. I'm never going to watch the show without him. I never thought it was possible.
You and everybody else. Right.
But they have done an amazing job. This jump ahead six years. We have these different communities that we're all, we're not sure what's happened. Something has happened in these 6 years, because now our people are all separated and they're not really speaking. So there's a mystery going on there that we got to figure out. But man, we knew the Whisperers were coming. They're a group of villains from the comic book. But this last episode of the first half of the 9th season had the best scene ever in the history of The Walking Dead, and I had to make you watch it the next day because I was so excited about it. And as soon as it happened, I rewound it. I watched it like 4 or 5 times because I was so amped about it. And now I'm so upset that I have to wait until February for it to come back. So the reveal of the Whisperers, which again is a spoiler if you guys don't know, the Whisperers are a group of people who they put on walker skin and they walk around like they're walkers, and then they attack their victims. And we knew they were coming, and I knew that they were in this group, but the way they revealed this, where some of our people, it was Aaron and Eugene and Jesus, and they were running, and they're in this fog, and they end up in a cemetery, and they're just surrounded by walkers, and this fight ensues, and Jesus is kicking butt, and he's, leaping off of people and walkers, and he's slicing through with his sword, and it's all awesome. And all of a sudden a walker ducks, and you're like, walkers don't duck. And it was just this explosive moment, and I'm not really going to spoil everything, but it was an amazing like last 10 minutes of this episode that they introduce this new villain, and we find out what's going on. And it's creepy after that, because then all the whispering starts again, and they've changed like the trajectory of this series in such an amazing way, and I'm super excited and I love it. And for 9 seasons, to be in 9 seasons and they're doing this, it's amazing. That's it's an amazing crew of storytellers behind the scenes and in front of the cameras and everything. And I can't stop loving it.
Good deal.
What did you think of the scene when I showed it to you?
Well, I'm not,
even though you don't follow it.
I don't follow it. I'm not as invested as you are.
But even technically, it was just such a great visual that I had to share it with you.
Even if you don't follow the show and you only catch 5 minutes every 2 weeks, the scene that you're talking about where Jesus is kicking ass and he goes to kill the last one around or whatever, and it ducks.
Yeah.
It makes you sit up in your seat, even if you don't pay attention to the show or whatever. You know that it's just a pivotal moment.
Right.
Right. In everything that's gone on and will go on. Right. And it was really well done. It was a little cliche that it was a foggy cemetery at night. I don't think that was an accident.
Not a cliche for this show.
Well,
that's never happened before.
I know, but the average person thinks it's zombies. They probably picture a foggy cemetery at night. Anyway, it was really well done, and it was striking. And I'm not any more inclined to watch the show than I was previously.
Yeah. But
that was really cool.
Good. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's Walking Dead. Comes back February 10th for the second half of the 9th season. Very excited about that. All the seasons are on Netflix, and honestly, it's one of the best acted shows in history. So if you're not watching it, it's worth going back and watching. Okay. The next we're going to talk about a Christmas special that was on this week. It was called A Legendary Christmas with John Legend and Chrissy Teigen.
Is that how you pronounce her name?
That's what we're supposed to do now.
Okay.
As far as I know.
That's just so weird.
So I wanted to talk about this because one, there's a ton of Christmas specials on now, obviously, but this was the best one I've seen. I mean, I want to say all my life, but I know when I was a kid, there were a lot of variety specials on that were just as good. And I think that's why I fell in love with this, that it took me back to those real variety specials.
Yeah, it felt like a throwback.
Yeah. So I started it, loved it, watched the whole thing, cried through the whole thing, cried tears of joy. And then John got home that night and I was like, you have to watch this. It'll put you in a good mood. I mean, he's the Grinch, but I said, it's going to put you in a good mood. If you love John and Chrissy, you can't not love this special. They did it in an old school, variety special way.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of laughs. They had a ton of people on. Stevie Wonder was on, and Awkwafina, and Sam Richardson.
Good mix of people.
It was great, but the stars are John and Chrissy, and if you like them, like if you follow them on Instagram or whatever, you know they're a pair. They're entertaining. They're entertaining.
Yes,
and they took that entertaining. And honestly, my favorite part of this special, I think, was when they went to the taste test group for their mac and cheese, because they both say they make the best mac and cheese. So they actually took it to a real focus group. And John Legend's reaction, I thought, was just classic, because he was being sabotaged.
Oh, yeah.
And he was just like, I can't believe this is happening to me.
This is so fixed.
Yeah. He's like, this is like Russian hacking.
Yeah, Russian hacking. I love that reference.
But at the same time, in between all of this, you're getting John Legend to sing with his beautiful, like, butter voice. It's just and again, singing Christmas songs for me, it's just the best. And at the end, so her family's there, his whole family's there, and at the end they sing the most beautiful song with the whole family, and his family takes part and sings, and you can tell that the talent runs deep there. And I was just a crying mess through the whole thing
twice.
And it's just fun. Like, you're gonna laugh, and you're gonna get in the spirit of things. And if you don't fall more in love with them, then I really can't help you. Their kids are on, and they're adorable. And it was just really felt like that throwback entertainment,
right?
Pure entertainment.
Yes.
Yeah. So they're airing it again on NBC on December 12th. But it is already on Hulu now, so you can go and check it out. And I advise it. And sit around with your whole family and just enjoy it. It's a ton of fun.
Yeah, you would be hard-pressed to be disappointed. You're going to like it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so the only other thing I want to talk about, just because it's a huge thing for us, is that this Wednesday on December 5th, the second season of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel comes out. So I just wanted to point it out. Know that we might not be talking about it next week unless I can really get him to binge. But it's a fabulous show. If you haven't watched the first season, there's still time to obviously go and watch the first season of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. It's on Amazon Prime, and we're excited for the second season.
Highly recommended. It is my favorite show.
Yeah, it's great. So we're very excited about that. Yeah.
So is that it?
Yes.
I do want to throw in just an honorable mention
for
television / streaming.
Okay.
The thing I came in on yesterday when I got home from work, or when I got back from our walk, I think. The Jeff Ross
bumping mics.
Yeah. So there's a streaming show on Netflix with Jeff Ross.
Yep, and Dave Attell.
And they basically just have a stage set up at the Comedy Store. I think
Comedy Cellar.
And they're just doing their thing. They're just kind of riffing.
Yeah, so they do this bumping microphones set up all around the country, and they decided to film the ones in New York. And so they've got 3 half-hour episodes on Netflix, and they kind of go up on stage and they just talk and they riff on each other, They do have some setup jokes where they set each other up for it, but then they bump mics when they really have a good joke. And the fun part about this Netflix is there's a lot of people in the audience that they talk to or bring up on stage. Like Amy Schumer, Michelle Wolf, Paul Rudd's in one of them. Bruce Willis was in the audience for this first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's comedy at its kind of purest,
and
most fun.
And if you're into that kind of comedy, if you like Jeff Ross, this is fantastic.
Well, here's what I'll say about Jeff Ross. I often think the roasts get a little mean sometimes.
Yes.
But this stuff where it's truly that they're ripping on each other.
Yes.
That's funny. It's pure fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of
oh my god,
a lot of funny stuff.
I laughed more in like the 20 minutes of that I caught.
Yeah.
Than I had in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I would recommend it. It's on Netflix. It's
Bumping Microphones.
It's Bumping Microphones. It's an hour and a half. There's 3 episodes.
Right.
Go watch it. You're gonna laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I'm out.
Okay, so now we're going to turn to our Actors Corner.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
And I decided to do Matt Damon.
I don't feel good about it.
And again, it was a very, very, very difficult week.
This was the hardest one.
Oh, really?
Ever.
Oh, no.
For me.
No.
Yeah. This is harder than Julia Roberts.
Oh, no. See, I still think Denzel was the worst, but
this was hard. Oh, this is harder than Denzel.
Oh, see, this is very difficult, but I don't think it was harder than that.
Oh, yeah, this is the toughest one.
Okay, so Matt Damon, movies you love.
Movies I love. I could only get down to 3.
Okay.
And I'm not even sure these are the right 3. I mean, there's literally 10 movies of his I love.
Yeah.
So, again, in no particular order, Rounders. I think Rounders was possibly the first thing I saw him in.
Right.
That's
plus you're a poker player.
I'm a poker player, and it's a classic poker movie. It's where a lot of that movie came out right at the high point of poker on ESPN and the World Series of poker taking off and all that stuff. So there's the vernacular in that and just the feeling that it gives you. It's
Ed Norton's great.
Well, yes,
John Malkovich.
Yeah. Yeah. So Rounders, The Rainmaker, love The Rainmaker with Danny DeVito. Yeah, you gotta see it.
It was on the other day, and like it was on the TV when I turned something off from the DVR, and I was like, oh,
Claire Danes is in it.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I saw Danny DeVito.
Yeah, Danny DeVito is in it. Claire Danes.
See, but after the Pelican Brief disaster, I'm kind of like, I think I might just sit the rest out.
That was not a disaster. You're over drama.
Okay, and your third one?
The Bourne Identity.
The first one.
The Bourne Identity, the first one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I just want to say real quick, the Bourne Identity, I remember thinking it was the first time he had ever done a movie like that. And I remember thinking, he's not going to be good in this, but whatever. And I went and sat in the theater, and the first moment he's sitting there and he whips his elbow up and hits the first person. I was like, oh, yeah, I can do it. Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
There may be something here.
Yeah. It was just like an instant, as soon as he threw the first punch. Yep, he can do this. We're good.
So the follow-up, I forget which one it was. The next one was good. The Bourne Identity was great. I loved it. It's one of my 3 favorite. The second one was good. I actually haven't seen, I think
You've seen the third one. You haven't seen the fourth one.
The Bourne Ultimatum, I think, is the 4th one.
No. Oh, I don't know. But you've seen the first 3. You haven't?
I believe I have.
Okay.
I didn't see the one where Jeremy Renner came in and took over.
I saw that one.
And I don't think I'm going to. Is that?
No, I turned that one off. I also turned the 4th one off.
Is that the Bourne Ultimatum?
I don't know, but whatever.
All right. Well, whatever.
Okay, so the movies I love, We Bought a Zoo, Cameron Crowe.
Yes.
And it's a fantastic true story with him and his kids. Great cast. Scarlett Johansson's in it, and what's his face? Not Noel. Anyway, great story, great movie. Cry
Thomas
every
Hayden
time.
Church,
Thank you. And I can watch it. I can come in and watch it at any point. I love it.
Yeah, he's very sweet in it. Way to
you
fight that one
haven't
off.
Seen it, but okay.
I have seen it.
My other one I love is The Martian. I can literally watch that a few times a week, and I have. I don't know why. I obsess about that movie, but I do. I love it, and it is all him. That movie is enjoyable because of him. I also enjoy the science of it, but it's him. And then my half on love is his episode of Will and Grace is one of the top 5 episodes ever.
Yeah.
And I can't let that go without being mentioned.
Yep.
Yeah. Movies you like?
Again, I could only get down to 3. The Adjustment Bureau.
Ugh.
Yeah, I know that's probably going to be the one you hate. The Martian could have been I love. And Hereafter.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't even think I finished that one.
I know.
Ew. Movies I like: The Departed, absolute classic.
Mm-hmm.
Actually love it, but I put it here. And he's so good in it. It's just great. And The Talented Mr. Ripley. Again, he's phenomenal in that, and it's such a great story. I love it. All right, movies you hate?
The Great Wall.
Well, yeah. Did you even finish it?
No, I turned it off. So hate is a strong term for this. This is a movie of his I don't like, don't care for.
Okay.
It's Downsizing.
Oh. Mine are Elysium. Ugh.
I didn't see it.
And Suburbicon I put on here. I turned it off too. That wasn't his fault. It just wasn't an enjoyable movie.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
You Secretly Love?
Will and Grace.
Okay.
That episode. And We Bought a Zoo.
Okay. Mine is Dogma. Everyone knows my affection for Kevin Smith, and Dogma is, no, it's not. I can't say it's my favorite Kevin Smith movie, but it is such a classic. Him and Ben and Chris Rock and Salma Hayek, and it's just it's a classic. So I don't know why I put Secretly Love. I just needed places to put things.
Well, yeah.
Because I love them all.
Right.
And my second one there is Monuments Men. I know, again, it wasn't a big hit, but
crap, I forgot to put that on the list.
But it's a great movie. It's completely enjoyable, and something you can watch over and over again, and it's a true story.
Okay, so Monuments Men would have been one I love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Embarrassed you haven't seen?
3 of them.
Okay.
Jersey Girl.
He's in it for like a minute, but okay.
Oh, well, it was on the list, and I
Okay.
didn't see it, so I don't know. Mystic Pizza?
Yeah, again, he's in it for about a minute, but yeah.
Okay, well, okay, so cross those 2 off, and the winner is Good Will Hunting. I know,
Yes, you should be embarrassed.
I know he's in that, and I'm embarrassed I haven't seen it. So,
Yeah. Okay.
So there.
You? Mine, Behind the Candelabra, the Liberace movie. I hate that I still haven't watched that.
Yeah, okay.
And Invictus, I still haven't watched that one
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one that I kept looking at, like, I've heard, the story, just the story alone.
Right.
You should see it.
Well, yeah.
A person should see it.
A person should.
Yes.
Okay, adding to your watch list.
Interstellar.
Okay.
And Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't have any that I'm adding to my watch list.
Okay.
But I do have all my honorable mentions, which was Mystic Pizza, School Ties I love.
He's barely in Mystic Pizza.
He's barely in it, I know. Good Will Hunting, Saving Private Ryan is great. Legend of Bagger Vance, I love. All the Oceans movies, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
he's...
He should get special recognition for being 2 characters, because Lenny Pepperidge is actually a different character all by itself.
Yes.
The Nose plays.
The Bourne movies, The Informant, and Contagion. And here's the thing, no one plays, I don't even know how to describe it, but Linus in Oceans, and then in The Informant, like this guy who's like this light,
Blissfully unawares.
right? But
Yeah.
he is aware. Like he can all like these characters are all so smart and know what they're doing, but can act like not really. You think they're a bumbling idiot, but
Slightly naive.
it's just like, yeah, there's this weird
Yeah.
thing that he can encompass, and he does that in a lot of these. You know, it's like he pulls off. Maybe it's the dual. Even in The Departed, like he can pull off being 2 people in something and having something going on in the background that you don't even realize is happening. And he makes that Mr. Ripley. It's like all of those things. He can just have that duality in one character that a lot of people really don't. And I enjoy that when he does it. Yeah. So I mean, obviously we're huge Matt Damon fans, and that's obvious. But there's a lot of good movies in there for sure.
Yep.
He's done a good job.
Yes.
Just skip the last, except for in the last few. Like, yeah, Great Wall couldn't even make my list because I was just like,
it didn't even make your list of
so
things you could
awful.
hate.
I tried to watch it. I just couldn't.
No.
So
It's a loss.
Yeah. Okay. So that's everything for this week.
Ooh.
I know.
I'm exhausted.
I know.
It's definitely nap time.
All right. So until then, wanted to talk about the Etsy shop. Again, it's holiday time. We've got a lot of t-shirts up there. So if you have someone that loves TV and movies, definitely check out our Etsy store.
T-shirts are literally flying off the shelf.
They are. We've had
surprisingly.
I think we're definitely in the throes of holiday shopping. But if there is something you want that's custom designed for a specific TV or movie, send us a message and we will get it done.
Yes.
So check out our website, watchingmystories.com. There's a link to the Etsy store on there. Also, you can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And that's it. We will talk to you guys next week. Until then, I'll be watching my stories.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.